Our guest now is Jozy Altidore of the U.S. men's national team and Toronto FC, which is playing in the MLS's Black Bubble tournament in Florida. Jozy, thanks for coming on the show.
Hey Grant, how you doing? Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's great to have you here. Lots to talk about, but let's keep it simple to start. How are you? How are your family doing?
Good. Family's good. As good as they can be in this difficult time. Obviously back at home, so that's difficult having to be away from them during all this. But we're here trying to get a positive tournament done and get back safe and sound.
So, we're doing this interview on Friday night. This episode actually comes out Monday morning, and in between, you've got your first game of the tournament on Sunday morning. How have you viewed life in the bubble so far down there in Orlando?
Life in the bubble is interesting. It's it's interesting. It's different. But I mean, for the most part, I think a lot of the guys feel safe. I think the league did a good job and trying to put together an environment that made sense. But at the end of the day, it still kind of irks me to be here, and I think it irks a lot of guys. It doesn't feel like your average away trip. It just doesn't feel natural. Doesn't feel totally right, if that makes sense.
I mean, the fact is, you're coming from a country, Canada, that has done a better job on the virus than the United States has, and
Yeah,
you've flown into Florida, um, a state you know well, but a state that's also where cases are going up quite a bit. And
yeah.
so, do you feel safe?
Yeah, that's the magic question, right? And like I told you, I think the league has tried to do their best, but at the end of the day, with what's going on, me personally, I would much rather it have played out differently. Just right outside these walls, you have the cases rising every day, so that's constantly on your mind. And like I said, you're just trying to do your best, put your head down, and just try to get through it and get home safe.
So before the first MLS game there on Wednesday night, we saw a really powerful, unified message
Yeah.
from the MLS Black Players for Change group. How have you experienced all of that?
Yeah, I mean, that was incredible. That was one of the most powerful things I've ever been a part of. First of all, that many players to come together in that short a time to kind of organize all that. So huge kudos to Justin Morrow, who helped, basically put the whole thing together, and all the players for having the courage to get out there on the field and stand together, stand united in the face of all the events that we've seen happen. So, and I was really proud of every single one of the guys out there. Everybody that was involved in it, and I thought the message was clear, and I thought it was time to send a message like that.
So what kinds of discussions about racism, about Black Lives Matter have you had with people inside soccer, people inside your team over the last few weeks?
I mean, interesting ones, right? I think everybody's been faced, if not with a friend or a family member throughout the past weeks, in a moment where you had to have some uncomfortable conversations. And, I'm no different. I've had them, whether it be in my family, some of my teammates. Michael Bradley's a guy I've known for a number of years, and he's a person that has a level head and can have these conversations and see both sides of it. So it hasn't escaped us athletes, if that's what you mean. I think we've also been in a position where everybody has to really look in the mirror here, and that's how you're going to make change, is if we collectively have these conversations and find solutions.
So I remember you and I had a conversation back in 2016. It was at a World Cup qualifier in St. Vincent
And the tiki
about
hut.
Yep, about Colin Kaepernick
Yeah.
and his protest during the national anthem against police brutality toward Black Americans. And you explained why, as someone who was raised as a Jehovah's Witness, you didn't put your hand over your heart or say the words during the national anthem. You did stand. Now, the anthem isn't being played before MLS games during this tournament, but have you thought about what you might do during the anthem once games start up again in home markets after the tournament?
Um, I not really. I haven't thought about it because I don't think there's any thought that's needed. Really, I think you know I'm very respectful of the country and very grateful for what it's done for me. But at the same time, to act as if you're blinded by the injustices that have been going on for not only now, it's been going on for years and years now, and history is repeating itself. And for me to be, as a father, as a son, as a brother, that could be anybody that I know and love, in one of these situations. And in my opinion, and the way I see things is I agree tenfold with the protests. And if we were to have a game with the anthem today or tomorrow, I would be kneeling with the anthem, as you asked.
Yeah, and I assume you would have teammates probably doing that with you.
Yeah, I mean, but at the same time, I'm not gonna, I understand if people choose not to kneel. I think everybody, has a right to their opinion, but I would love a conversation to kind of understand, both sides. And I think that's important, that we're able to have conversations and hear each other and not talk over each other, because I think sometimes that's what happens and nothing gets accomplished when that happens.
So, do you think MLS as a league, which still has had no US-born black head coaches in its history, think about that. Do you think MLS as a league is committed to real change?
Well, that's the beauty of what's happening right now. You kind of see who's for real and who's not, right? So, with the MLS coming out and saying how they're going to support, now it's all about actions. Words aren't much now. So I think everybody will collectively see now just how much, this means to the league. Will we see more black influence, whether it be in coaching and front office and presidential duties and general manager duties? I think you need that influence to make everybody feel more comfortable and to give a platform to a lot of black players that have done a lot of good as well for the league.
Even though the players union and the league reached an agreement that allowed this tournament to happen, I've had some players tell me that the league's threat to lock you guys out really did set the relationship back. From your perspective, would you say that's accurate?
Absolutely, because I think the players acted in good faith through the whole time. I think, and that's the thing in MLS, I think it's a very different conversation because it is in a league where the players have so much to stand on in terms of the financial side of it. So I think when you look at this, the players acted in good faith, and I think it was just really ill-advised and really distasteful from the league to take such an aggressive stance in the time that we're in. And I think in difficult times, people show you their true colors. And whether it be by accident or on purpose, I think the league showed us how they see us in this current moment. And I think we'd be wise to heed those warnings and move accordingly.
So I know due to COVID stuff and quarantine, you weren't able to join your teammates. I think it was until July 3rd for any sort of training for the first time. Like right now, how close are you to 100% healthy to play?
I'm healthy, man. I can play, no problem. The rest is a decision for the coach, but I have no injuries. I've passed all the necessary tests into the group, so I'm training with the group full on, and I look forward to the games getting started. And hopefully, we can be as sharp as possible because I think it's going to be tough. 9 a.m. games. I mean, I ain't played 9 a.m. games since State Cup U12 or something like that. My dad would give me a banana because I had trouble eating breakfast before the game, and I eat a banana, a little yogurt, and go run out there. But I'm intrigued to see how this is going to go. I am.
I do joke with people that we're going to get our fourth Toronto-Seattle final in the last 5 years, but honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if that happened. What is it that you think that Toronto and Seattle have figured out about tournament soccer in this league? Some things that maybe other teams haven't as much.
I mean, I think it's quality, it's experience. I think when you look at both teams in the past 4 or 5 years, we've had both. And I think you need that if you're going to try to compete or win any trophy. You need people that have been in those situations, that know how to handle them. And at the same time, you need game winners. You need match winners, people that could, put the game on its head with one action. So I think when you look at Seattle along the years, whether it be Clint, whether it be Nicholas Lodero, Jordan Morris, and then you look at Toronto, consistently we're trying to put ourselves in a place where, we can win trophies by acquiring those type of players. So I think that's the difference, just the drive to constantly build the best team possible. And I think now it's interesting in MLS because I think you're starting to see a gap in the teams that are consistently trying to win games and have a certain quality, and then the rest. So we're trying to be one of those organizations, and I think we've done a good job doing that, as has Seattle as well.
Yeah, I mean, it seems to me like there's actually a little bit of a small market, large market gap happening, or at least spending gap happening, and you happen to be on a team that's willing to spend a bit more money. I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing, do you?
No, it's a great thing, and that's the thing. I think that's what the players want too. I think the league as a whole has got to step things up. They got to dress the league up a little bit more. Start to do and move in a more big boy manner. And I think the players want that. The fans want that. I think the media would like that. So I think it's going to be an interesting time for the league the next few years. And I hope, obviously, with this COVID stuff, we get through it and are able to come out the other side.
I want to talk about women's soccer with you for a few questions. You've been tweeting about women's soccer a fair amount, including saying that you've enjoyed watching the games in the NWSL tournament. Is your interest in that relatively new, or has it been there for a while?
I mean, I've always been. I mean, I know I get a bad rap because I made a joke on Twitter one time about the women's game, but not even the women's game, about an incident. But I've always been a fan of the women's game. I think when you look at the World Cup in '99, was it '99? When was it in the Coliseum?
Yeah.
Was it '99? '99. And I think, even as a young boy, like, to not dream after watching that. It was 100,000 people in the stadium representing your country, and Brandi Chastain scoring that penalty kick. Who doesn't dream of a moment like that in their garage? Young boy or young girl. And I don't think just because it was a woman that the moment was any less. I think it was just as great, and we all saw it from our couches, from our home. So I've been a fan, man. The Tiffany Milbert days, Mia Hamm, you name it, man. I was there supporting the team. Brian is Scurry. We were Scurry fans back in the day. So, I mean, it's nothing new to me. And I think it's great to see them, their restart has been fantastic to me. They've been safe for the most part. And I think the soccer has been quality. When you take out all the elements and you're able now to just watch them play, I mean, I see quality. I see technique. I see tactical awareness. I mean, obviously there's some differences, but those girls can ball. And I'm happy that that's been put on display.
So you tweeted actually fairly recently that you'd like to see Toronto get a women's league team. What kind of response did you get to that? And do you think that's a possibility?
I'm not worried about the response. I didn't even know what I had done there. I was just honestly, sometimes I get caught up into it and I'm having like little conversations with people and I totally forgot like what I was doing. But yeah, man, I'm intrigued, man. I'm doing a lot of different things in my life, thinking about that next phase of life. And, the women's league intrigues me quite a bit. I think there's a lot of potential for growth there. And speaking of Toronto, for sure, I think Toronto has shown that they support their teams in an incredible way. And I think a women's team in Toronto would be pretty fun to watch.
I'd like to see you be part of the ownership group. How about that?
Oh, don't spread rumors, Grant. Don't do that, man. What are you doing?
One question I have is that we've seen the lawyers for the U.S. Men's Players Union put out statements saying that the men's team supports the U.S. women's team's push for equal pay to the men. But we haven't actually heard many actual voices of the U.S. men's players saying that yet. I mean, do you support the U.S. women's push for equal pay?
I think that's an easy answer, and it's absolutely, because I think where it gets messy for a lot of people is when you have these legal things. And I remember being in the Gold Cup when we had to have a meeting about an article that was written saying that we had been contacted about something and that everybody had no comment. I forgot what it was, but then I remember then basically being told, like, we're not talking about this. Don't talk about this. It's being handled. If you want to say something, use your union. And that's what we did immediately, I think. Or I think we had already put one out prior to that and just spoke through the union because we were basically told to not really talk about that as it was ongoing. So just trying to be respectful of the whole situation. But like I told you before, I've been a huge fan of the women's team, and they represent the same federation that we all play for. And I don't think that should, just because they play in maybe a different competitions or whatever, that should minimize anything. I think their quality, they've won the World Cup now 4 times now, I think, right?
Yep.
The best team in the world, and I think they should be paid as such. And so to see this go on as long as it has. When you're talking about the federation, they work for the same federation we do, and I think it's pretty clear cut. I mean, I'm not going to sit there and say I was like I know it all at first, but when I was looking at everything and diving into the numbers like everybody else and all that stuff, like I said, these women for a number of years have represented our federation at a high level. When you talk about Mia Hamm, Michelle Akers, and I've had a platform, a big one, in growing the game in this country, and they've done their part. And so I hope that will be handled in the right way, and I hope that's the end of it, because I don't think that was a good phase for the federation at all.
It's been so long since the U.S. men's national team has been together. How are you feeling about it right now?
About what?
About the national team. I mean,
what you mean? You say it like that's my team or something. My team, Toronto, man. My team's Toronto, man. What do you mean? That's not my club team. I can't like. That kind of annoys me sometimes. People like, that's not my club team. That is, a national team. It's not mine. It's not anybody's. You want to be on it, but I don't have the right to talk about it as if it's my own. And I think I would love to obviously be back on it, but I don't know. I haven't been involved in it, so I don't really know what's going on there.
Okay. I mean, I'm certainly not trying to frustrate you, and I'm actually interested.
No, you're not. No, I don't know. I couldn't tell you. I don't know. I haven't spoke to nobody there, so I don't know what the plan is. I don't know what's going on.
Okay. I mean, part of me looks at your career. You're 30 years old. You've got 42 career goals with the U.S. men's national team, which isn't that far behind the record holders, Landon Donovan and Clinton Dempsey at 57. And I feel like you still have something to give. I assume you do too.
Yeah, but I'm not like I said, that's not a given, right? So if it comes, it comes. But it doesn't change how I go to work every day, and it doesn't change my mentality. But I can't operate as if it's a guarantee. If it comes, it comes, and it's an honor all the time. So we'll just have to wait and see.
I'm curious to know what you think about Christian Pulisic right now. He's a guy that is in a really good run of form at Chelsea, maybe their best player the last few weeks. Do you get the sense that he's sort of making the leap right now to the next level?
Next level, yeah. I mean, I think the talent was always there. I think if you mean in terms of doing it consistently, yeah, I would agree to that. Obviously, the run of form for him has been great. But I'm not surprised, man. I'm telling you, this kid, when we trained in Columbus, I want to say, and we were playing, who were we playing? Was it Mexico? I don't remember. But Christian was playing the number 10. Jurgen put him in the number 10 position. I remember, a lot of people were like, not confused, but, we hadn't really played with him before. And I just remember after 10 minutes, I was like, man, what a player. What a player, what a possibility there. So I haven't really been surprised. I think he can do more. And I think he's going to push himself to do more, because I think he's a special talent. And it's just really great to see what he's doing. I'm very happy and very proud for
him. And you look ahead, there's a lot of unknowns in 2020 for a lot of reasons, COVID being a big part of it. We don't really know how many games there are going to be after this tournament. Certainly there's a hope there that there can be a regular season and playoffs. What do you want to get out of this year?
My health, man. I just want to be safe, to be honest with you. I think when you look at everything going on, like I told you, the league's done a good job, but we're in the middle of a pandemic. And to the people that say don't come, you're not going to get paid if you don't come. So at the end of the day, we got mouths to feed too. We're no different than anybody else. But, I just hope that the safety and some common sense is going to be used from now to the end of the year. And we move as the virus moves and not the other way around.
Well, if I had a glass of champagne, I would say here's to your health into 2020.
Appreciate it.
We've been doing these interviews for a long time. I really appreciate it. Thanks so much, Jozy Altidore.
No problem, man. Thanks for having me, Grant. Stay safe, buddy.